Tonight on Q2, guns in the classroom.
A myriad of things, and I would rather see the district go down that path than to start arming more people.
Parents fired up as the school board discusses arming more people, not less, on school grounds. Plus, worries over an outbreak.
One of those kids that participated, it turns out, did have the measles virus.
On the heels of Billings' first measles case, more could definitely follow after 170 people were exposed. And on the prowl.
Shocking, because I thought it was a dog. I thought, that's not a dog, that's a bear.
A black bear spotted roaming the south side, providing a shocking scene for some residents. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us on this Monday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. At a time when many are pushing to keep guns out of schools, Billings is looking to bring more inside. Tonight, the school board taking up a proposal to arm the district's safety coordinator on school grounds. Officials say the move would bring more safety to the classrooms, but not all parents agree, believing it could lead to tragedy. MTN's David J. was on hand as several members of the public made their voices heard.
The school board looked at a policy that would allow appointing a school employee to be certified as a school marshal.
The marshal program really is taking that language and giving it more substance. So number one is not like I select or personally, but the board selects someone that has gone through the process, who has been vetted.
The school marshal would be able to possess, carry, or store a firearm and would need to meet some qualifications, including a permit to carry a concealed weapon, be certified by Montana Public Safety Officer standards, and a background check.
Not necessarily as an officer, but it's going to be in the location where we have a situation that person can have a gun, which is a deterrent, who can then defend itself, and not against kids, which was mentioned. But we're talking about a world where people attack other people.
The school district has a proposal to authorize a school marshal who would be able to carry a gun and be there for safety reasons, but many at the meeting spoke out against that idea.
I think it's important that we don't start going down the path of just more armed adults. That has not proven to be effective.
I feel like the district is doing something that isn't evidence-based, and it's not based on peer-reviewed research.
No one spoke in favor during public comment of authorizing a marshal to carry a gun.
If we needed more armed staff, which I believe we do not, we should hire more SROs who have undergone extensive training to possess a firearm in a school setting.
I wonder where we draw the line if we say this person would be allowed to carry a gun. Would next year another kind of a person would be able to carry a gun?
But the district does see the benefits.
This is not opening the floodgates for teachers, coaches, and random employees, myself included, to have a gun. That's not what we want.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Another day of severe thunderstorms across the area on the heels of much of eastern Montana getting hit with severe storms. Wind, hail, and rain all playing a role. With the very latest on that, here's Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
Thanks for the pictures and videos and reports you've been sharing with us. Some of them very pretty pictures. Glenn, thanks for sharing this one. Weather at ktvq.com. You can use our free downloadable weather app. So that didn't look too threatening, but you start taking a look around Harleton. And Dale, thanks for sharing this one with some of the clouds. There was actually a couple of rounds of showers and thunderstorms that moved up around the Harleton, Rygate area. You saw very busy weather. Steph, thanks for showing this one. You see some of the lightning flashes around the Billings area. That for the most part, we didn't get a lot out of it for Billings other than the threat of storms around us. Neil was out chasing storms around Harleton, and you can see this is a great setup here. As you can see the outflow area where some of the rain, the wall cloud that starts to develop. But there's also a downside when you're out chasing storms, and there's the windshield by the time the evening came to an end. Ping pong sized hail. We could have more in the area this evening. I'll show you where in a few minutes.
A fire in the Lolo National Forest, which drew a lot of attention over the weekend, has been determined to be human-caused. However, forest officials say what led up to that fire start is still under investigation. The flames, which are burning near Missoula, have scorched around 100 acres with 160 firefighters still working to contain the fire. Firefighters continue to work today on securing fire lines while aircraft continue to drop water on spot fires. Right now, there are around 50 active fires in the state, with nearly 15 of those beginning in the last 24 hours. Around 170 people may have been exposed to the measles here in Billings. It comes after a school-aged child was diagnosed Friday after attending a vacation Bible camp at Cornerstone Community Church. It's the first true case in Yellowstone County since the state outbreak first began earlier this year in Gallatin County. Pastor Jeff Roman says up to 110 kids and 60 volunteers were on hand last week for the Bible school. He says most of the congregation has been vaccinated and leaders made sure everyone is taking precautions.
We worked hand in hand together to try to make sure that we would eliminate or slow the spread of this thing as much as possible.
Chief Medical Officer at Riverstone Health, Dr. Megan Littlefield, says those precautions include a 21-day quarantine period. Those without the vaccine have around a 90% chance of getting the virus. She also warns that someone can be contagious and not even know it.
We then start to look at who that person has been in contact with during the 4 days before the rash, which is when they are contagious. And we start doing outreach to whoever we can identify that may have been exposed during that time.
You can receive the MMR vaccine by making an appointment with Riverstone Health Monday through Friday of each week. Montana regulators have released more details on their plans to implement work requirements and charge premiums for people on Medicaid expansion. It includes tweaks to get the state's proposals in line with the federal budget bill just passed by Congress. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian breaks down the proposed changes.
Earlier this month, leaders with the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services told lawmakers they were ready to seek federal approval to start implementing community engagement requirements and cost sharing for people on Montana's Medicaid expansion program. Now they've released details about what they're going to ask the federal government to approve. On Friday, the Gianforte administration officially published their request for a 5-year waiver to implement part of the state's Medicaid expansion law that have never gone into effect. In the document, state leaders said the changes would, quote, ensure that public resources are targeted to those most in need and encourage greater independence and self-sufficiency. If the waiver application is approved, people wanting to get onto Medicaid expansion will have to be working, in school, in workforce training, or another type of approved community engagement for at least 80 hours a month, 1 month before they apply. The waiver would also require Medicaid expansion recipients to pay monthly premiums. The premiums would start at 2% of their household income and increase the longer a person remains on the program. People who don't pay would have charges assessed against their income tax. And if they're above the federal poverty line, they could be disenrolled if they don't pay within 90 days. Federal and state laws each lay out categories of people who should be exempt from these requirements, and the waiver seeks to get those into alignment. Under the federal law, groups including pregnant women, American Indians, people with children 13 or younger, and those with specific disabilities will be exempt from community engagement requirements and from premium increases. The state also wants to offer short-term exemptions to groups like people experiencing homelessness and domestic violence victims. DPHHS says if the waiver is approved, they'll implement the new requirements as soon as practicable. DPHHS will be holding public meetings on the waiver proposal next week, including one here in Helena on Thursday, July 31st, and a virtual meeting on Friday, August 1st. If you'd like to participate, you can find out how by going to our website. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Wild morning on the south side as residents woke up to an unlikely visitor, a black bear. The animal wandered through a neighborhood, startling people out and about before police eventually pushed it back outside city limits. As Don Hudson shows us, for one longtime resident, it was a once-in-a-lifetime sight.
He was not looking like he was dangerous at all.
Barb Freer saw the bear while out on her morning walk near King Avenue East and Jackson Street.
He was coming up the street over here and on Kings Green and turned and came down in front of my house, but I was behind him. He wasn't worried about me.
While she didn't stop to take a photo, about 10 blocks north, KTVQ viewer Levon Plainbear was able to capture the bear on camera just off Bunting Street.
And then it came back out. So when it came back out, then we all ran out. And it was just walking around right here. So we got the pictures and the videos. And then it, went around that way. Then we lost it.
A short time later, the bear had made its way 6 blocks west to Optimus Park.
Shocking, because I thought it was a dog. I thought, that's not a dog, that's a bear.
Just before 1, Billings police said they used flashbangs to push the bear south across the interstate and outside of city limits. While they hope it doesn't come back, Barb will be keeping an eye out.
Well, I'm going to watch for him. I think he's a cute little guy.
In Billings, Don Hudson, MTN News.
A scary scene unfolding in the skies as a Delta flight was on track for Minot, North Dakota before running into unforeseen trouble.
So given his speed, it was a military, I don't know how fast they were going, but they were a lot faster than us. I felt it was the safest thing to do to turn behind it. So sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all.
That was the pilot of Flight 3788 after he had to swerve out of the way of an oncoming military aircraft. After apologizing to passengers for the aggressive maneuver, he explained that the crew was not given a heads up by the control tower. The plane did erupt in applause, knowing just how close they may have come to a mid-air collision. The FAA says it's working to gather more information on what exactly occurred.